Good afternoon, Facebook and YouTube viewers. I am Rebecca Sosmarsky with the Register Mail, and I am here with Kate Denial today at Knox College, and we are talking about the primary election. And it was actually Kate's first primary election that you voted in.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that happened and why?
I became a citizen on the day that Donald Trump was sworn into office, and so this was my first opportunity to vote in a primary since then.
And how was your first experience? You were telling a little bit something about the election judges.
It was very fun. I voted at Bethel Baptist, where three other precincts and mine were all voting in the big gymnasium. And when I picked up my ballot, I was given a little sticker that said I voted. And I said to the person who gave it to me, "This is my first time voting." And somebody at the table bellowed, "First time voter, first time voter." And everybody in the room clapped and cheered for me, and even some of the voters who were in the room. It was very, very sweet.
That's awesome. And I know you're kind of telling us, too, that it wasn't your first time around a polling place since you volunteered for Howard Dean's campaign and some others, but how did it feel to actually be the person inside the booth then after all that time?
It was really, really fun. I spent a lot of time volunteering in the 2000s for political campaigns, and so I helped get out the vote. But this was my first time actually seeing it in action and participating in it. So all of these things that I intellectually knew suddenly became real, and that was really, really fun.
That's awesome. And do you mind asking who you voted for?
I voted for Biss for governor.
And what was the main reason why you chose Biss?
I really didn't want J.B. Pritzker to get into office.
Sure. And why not J.B.?
I felt like he was too entrenched in some of the worst traditions of the Illinois democratic system, and I really wanted to change.
We were also talking to some other voters, too, who talked about the influence of Donald Trump in this election. Was that a reason as well that you felt motivated to vote in this?
Definitely. I feel like I've seen very few Republicans repudiate some of the things that Trump has done that have been unconstitutional, that have been just motivated by some of the worst instincts, I think. And until I see those things being repudiated, I really feel like the party is also represented by Trump. So I'm going to vote out anybody who supports him.
Sure. And kind of going off of that, too, when we've been talking to a couple Democrats in town, they've been mentioning that they really wanted a progressive candidate, or to say the anti-establishment candidate against Pritzker. Did you notice that amongst your friends as well when you were talking, that there was a anti-establishment sentiment?
Definitely. That we wanted some change, some fresh air in the system, which seems to be sort of run along the same rail lines every single time. So we really wanted something new.
What would be your ideal candidate?
Oh my gosh, I think back in the day, Howard Dean was my favorite candidate, and he was my ideal at the time. That was sort of a lasting loss when he didn't win the primaries. But ideally, I would love to see a man or woman of color. I would love to see someone who comes up from grassroots organizing, someone who's really sympathetic to labor unions, someone who prioritizes women's health issues, and someone who is going to look out for immigrants, because I was one until very recently.
Definitely. And I'm curious, because being an American history professor, you would have a good perspective on this. Do you think it is possible to have a better field of candidates? Because we often hear on both sides, whether it's left or right, that many people are looking for a change, but we seem to get a lot of the same. What do you think in terms of the system?
I think it is possible. I think that we've seen some huge changes in how people have run their campaigns, starting with Howard Dean, moving through Obama's first election campaign, up to what Bernie Sanders was doing. A lot of grassroots activism, a lot of reaching out to voters who maybe haven't been engaged before. And I think that the more grassroots organizing there is, the better. The more people who can get involved with the system, that's how we're really going to see change happen.
Well, thank you so much, Kate, for being here today and sharing your voting experiences with us.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in.